I was like, why are you so obsessed with me?
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
He just told you.
Hello, I'm Larissa. Welcome to Goblins of Discord. If you're watching this in November, I have a Black Friday sale going on with introvert typings. I will be stepping up my game in January. I'm just so beleaguered and like not happy right now, but I'm just trying to be in the SP horror experience and hopefully secure my tiny little bag of coins. Hopefully I can finish one thing I like by the end of the year so I don't just walk into the river, into the icy river in a small town and have some kind of like pathetic Lana Del Rey end my life. Anyway, the instincts. So if you are not new to this channel and you've watched a bunch of videos, you've probably heard me say multiple times, I'm like, I don't feel confident in my understanding of the instincts. And if you've been with the Enneagram for a while, you probably understand why, because the conversations are just decrepit and rank. With most people, it's like either you get like the Reddit crowd, which are like, I'm sexual 8, I'm a sexual 4, and they're clearly like a SPS 09 or something, or you go into like the groups where whatever Facebook server, whatever they're in, and everybody's gatekeeping. You're not sexual. You didn't want to fuck me. That means you're not a sexual. You don't have sexual in your type. And they're like some fucking potato hog that like anybody with eyes and standards wouldn't fuck, but you don't have sexual in your type because you don't want to rub your loins against a potato. So there's like the two kind of extremes, I think, that have made it, and also just people gatekeeping SX, where you can't have conversations around it, and also mostly attachment types gatekeeping it, where it's like excludes how it shows up with hexads. So attachment being 3, 6, and 9, hexad being like 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, which shows up way different. There, and I spent a long time trying to understand the difference between 7 and sexual, because every time I would try to talk to people in these groups, like, I really don't think I'm sexual. Last guys, it's just 7. It's just 7. Like, all right. So I'm sure that apologies to anybody who's like, you definitely mistyped my instincts, Larissa. Like, I don't know, maybe I did. I'm sorry. I'm on a learning journey. Nobody's perfect. Nobody knows everything in these spaces. I am on a quest to master the Enneagram, however, which is why I will not join any of the other systems. They have zero value to me. I'm not interested. I'm locked in. I'm gonna be a fucking Enneagram master. To what end, I don't know. Although I do have fantasies of like being an evil reality TV show producer in my twilight years, but at any rate. So yeah, I want to talk about the instincts. These are just thoughts that I'm having, consolidating, crystallizations. I primarily have my conversations now with just two people, sometimes up to four people. I was having some good convos with one person, but yeah, too bad that fell apart. But so this is like from that where it's a lot easier to get to the bone of something if you're not being clouded by people projecting stuff where it's just an open dialogue. I like those kinds of Enneagram conversations. Not that I'm not guilty of putting people's heads in a box, but um and also just being out in the world. So one of the reasons I found the instincts confusing was because I had entered a hermit cocoon collapse era where I was just like a fucking caterpillar being digested. And I'm only now just coming out of that, but I've been in a transition process, so having to re-enter the world again and becoming like highly aware of the fact that I was definitely not sexual last and noticing what I was paying attention to at a mundane Joe job that I took on basically just so I didn't have to like try anymore. um, and paying attention to like, oh, like, oh no, like the only thing I pay attention to is like sparks and social whatever, you know. So I think there's an element of self-delusion as well, though, that including me, that make it hard to see what you're actually focused on and what you're doing. But I'm gonna try. I'm not reinventing the wheel with the instincts. And I haven't read anybody else's stuff on any of this stuff, like any of the Enneagram stuff for years. So I don't know. Maybe people are making better insights now, or having better insights, sharing better insights now. I have no idea. But I'm just sharing like my sort of consolidated thoughts in a series of videos, and I'll be making more. These are still fresh. These are still kind of new for me. Again, don't think I'm reinventing the wheel, but sometimes it's just like looking at this one thing that's been looked at from this angle and looking at it from this angle. That's sort of what I'm trying to do. Like sometimes I have to look at things from a bunch of angles to really be able to see it three-dimensionally. So maybe this will be helpful to some people, maybe it won't. I don't know. Anyway, I just really wanted to make a bunch of intro videos as well. So, okay. So how I'm sort of like, I posted some stuff on Instagram and the Substack, which is the website, so you can read some of this. But I'm expanding on it for these videos. So yeah, like I have shared before, I don't personally believe that like anybody is blind in the instincts, blind in any instinct. Like I think that they can be last in an instinct, and I think sometimes depending on what's going on in somebody's life, the second and third instinct might have like a kind of temporary cycle that happens, or like, you know, something crazy happens and you have to focus on your last instinct, like especially if you're self-preservation last, because something like it's all come to like a tower moment, and you literally have to, because your finances, your health, your everything is just collapsed and you're like on the verge of like being thrown out into the gutter or something. Um, but but I think for the most part, like people aren't really blind in an instinct. It's just about what your kind of unconscious preferences are, and like what your discomfort zones are, and what you prefer not to put all your attention on, or that feels like an energy drain on some level. It's just like not inspiring or enlivening. It's not enjoyable for you. So you just sort of like put it to the side, or it's like a thing where you're like, this thing threatens the other things, so I'm like not going to prioritize it. And so like that's how I approach the instincts, which I also feel like is maybe a more healthy approach, because I feel like sometimes people get too into the identity shit with the instincts where it's like, I have sexual. And it's like, okay. It's like when people who like never been to Ukraine and don't know anybody in Ukraine were like putting Ukraine emojis in there. Fucking, I don't know. It's just like, okay. So yeah, I also think like the instincts, like I'll be doing a separate video on the last instinct, but I think the last instinct sort of like what you automatically reject unless you have to pay attention to it. Again, because it's like haunting it's like interfering with the stuff that you actually want to focus on, and like to the point where you're like, all right, I have to deal with this now. But if you've been like, if it's like the kind of like thrall that you're in all the time, then it's like not likely to be your last instinct, even if you have problems in it. So this type sort of framed that is that each instinct is like a struggle on some level. So it's like the first instinct, it's like you're almost locked in, or like, I don't want to say like horny for the struggle, but you're kind of horny for the struggle because it's like you're so zeroed in on it that even if you hate it, it's like you can't fucking turn away. It's like the ring, right? Like, my precious. It's like, I know that it's like turning me into like this rotting corpse fishmonger creature, but I can't look away from it. Like a lot of SP DOMs are like, I'm bad at SP or something, so I can't be a SP DOM, but it's like this woman I know who's a self-pres social six, just constantly things going wrong in that self-pres world for her. Oh, is that the health thing? Oh, my basement is flooded. Oh, my house is on fire. Like, it's just, it never ends. Like, there's always some self-pres crisis that's happening. It's not like self-pres last crisis. It's like the water she swims in. And I really, really believe, talked about this in other videos, and I'm going to be talking about it more. I really believe that, like, I have a new personality traps video that's going to drop also in the next week or so. I don't know, my time. I feel like I'm going to lose it, guys. I don't want to put all the time and attention I've been putting to mundane stuff that I have, and I'm like, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, where's it going with this? I'm having my own instinctual problems right now. Oh, but it's like I really think that like you create the melodrama. You're unconsciously creating the melodrama because like you're type shit. So like if you are constantly having self-pres crisis, like crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis, like I really think it's potentially because you're self-pres dom. Because it's like it's the world you're creating with your own energy in mind. Like I know some people won't understand what I'm saying and they're gonna get mad about it, but I really think it's a thing. And it's like a thing that like I'll explain more of this like in a minute, but it's not the problem that like it's like if you're the one who's fixated on the problem all the time, then it's probably your dominant instinct. If you have problems all the time in that area, but you don't really care or pay attention to it, and other people are having problems with you not addressing the problem, then it's probably not your dominant instinct. I'm going to explain that a little bit more in a second. And then middle instinct, I think, is um, like kind of like what's the struggle? You know what I mean? Like there is no struggle. Or I'm not necessarily that, but it's like more light and easy to deal with. Like it's more like I think, and I'm going to do another video about this. I think it's like maybe the superpower instinct because I think you can sort of like you have more latitude with it because it's not as stressful in terms of like high stakes because it's the dominant instinct, but it's also not as like annoying and like horrible and agonizing as like the last instinct. And then the last instinct is like regarding the struggle is more like I don't want to do it. Like leave me alone. Or like complete collapse around it. Like I'm a baby. I don't know how to like I don't know how like somebody else do it. Oh my God, help me, help me, help me. Like this kind of thing. So and I'll go more into that again, like I said. So first instinct, again, like kind of being horny for the struggle, not like actually like, I mean, maybe a little bit horny for the struggle, but it's like you're just kind of locked in. It's like the thing, it's like the TV show that you are watching, that you watch every week. It's your show. You can't turn away from it. Even if you don't like it, even if you don't like the characters, you can't stop looking. Um, it's your fixation. It's what you return to again and again, even if it sucks. Like I said, as soon as one thing is resolved, a new thing crops up. It's like Jason Voorhees. It's like fucking Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers. It can be a source of pleasure or pain that is akin to pleasure in the sense that the person is like masochistically fixated on it. And like I really see that with self-pres sixes. It's working in tandem with the core type to feed the ego with self-confirming narratives. It is working in tandem with the core type to feed the ego with a self-confirming narrative. So yeah, like again, it's like what I was just kind of like talking about that lady. It's like, oh, like I will never be able to, like I'm gonna take a problem in my house. It's like It's like you're getting something juicy out of that, you know what I mean? Like there's something fueling about this like melodrama that like you're playing out with like your house issues. Like, and this is going to be like dependent on the person's core type, of course, because like obviously like reactive types, fours, sixes are going to be like more negatively focused. Nines with a four, nines with a six are going to often be like more collapsed, focused on like and every instinct potentially, but it's where are they sort of fixating? Because this is the water that somebody swims in, so it's what they notice the most day to day and are concerned about when it's missing. There's always something to do or fixate on here, but they often don't even realize that they're fixated because it's the water, it's invisible, it's reality. So they don't even know that they're doing it. It's like only usually I think like if you're like a different instinct than a person, you could notice what they're doing because it's like, ew, what is that? Um not like I think like self-prosexuals are a different breed than self-prosocials, but sometimes like some self-prosocials it's like oh my God, it's like how to have a conversation if you have self-pres last. It's like it's like unbearable. Okay, so the first instinct, no offense, you know, like I think I like I know that I stress out people when I'm doing my whole production and it's like, oh my God, none of this matters, Larissa. It's like it's the only thing that matters. I don't care about your pillows. Okay, so the first instinct is kind of like it feels like not optional. Like it's not negotiable. Like this is like how reality is. This is how we operate here in this reality. You can't change it. You can't not fixate on it. There's always going to be something. There's always, it's the thing that you're attracted to, but you're also being destroyed by. Much like the personality traps, which I've talked about in previous videos. It's like you're fixated on it, so you can't see outside of it. And when it, like I said, when it's missing, it kind of can, I think that like, I think I don't really think you can be missing SP because self-pres because we live in a fucking 3D matrix that is literally designed for self-pres doms. Um, when social is missing, I think it's more like you don't have any like interesting or cool people to hang out with or like people that you want to hang out with and you're like stuck with like Rhonda at the office or whatever and it's kind of just like make and do and it's like unsatisfying. And then I think like sexual doms, it's like a deadening feeling, a feeling of like despair when you don't have that like electricity. And I think that that's why, and this is what I've noticed since being out in the world again, is that when you like encounter, it's harder over Zoom, I will say, with typing people, but when you encounter somebody in the wild that has sexual in their type, if you have sexual in your type, it's like there's like a lightning bolt. It can be one of like repulsion too, like where you're like, oh, like instantly feel like slimed by a person. You have to like distance yourself from them. At least that's my take on it. But it's also like when it's like pinging. It's like, oh, like, because you're like tapped into like a higher frequency energy field. And so I think like when somebody comes in that has sexual in their type, even if you're not like attracted to them, it's like you kind of feel a rush because it's like, oh, you're not like the other ones. There's something here. There's something here. What's here? What is this? Again, unless they're gross, and then it's like, oh no, I know what this person's doing. they're trying to send like a smegma penile energy grenade at me. They're trying to throw it at my skirt. Get away from me. That's how it feels to me. So I digress. I won't be translating this into an article either. So I was also trying to think about like how to frame it like different ways. So like what bag is somebody trying to secure instinctually? What are they constantly zoomed in on, even if they don't realize that? Again, we're being a bit repetitive here, but where do their problems keep turning up? Not the ones that you can see are the problems, but the ones they fixate on 24/7. Which ones do they keep talking about all the time? Which ones, if they have the option to talk about, will they talk about? Because like sometimes shit happens and you're talking about stuff, but like where does their attention often go back to over and over again? Example, you might know that the person has self-pres problems, like they're always broke, their apartment's a pigsty, they're always falling ill, there's always some health crisis. But are they focused on rectifying that, leaning into it? Although I will say a lot of self-pres doms with 6 and 9 in their type do not want to fix their problems because then they won't have a problem. But they're like leaning into it, you know what I mean? It's like part of their identity. It's all they talk about. So oftentimes is like their reason for being. It's like the people who you counter in a store and they're like, the weather. Let's talk about the weather. It's like, who wants to talk about the fucking weather? Like, what you been up to? Who do you hate? Who are you secretly trying to fuck in the office? What is going on with my eyelashes? Are they fixated on romantic intrigues? Who wants them? Who do they want? Like what potential's there? Like, ooh, did you see how that, like, you know what I mean? Are they like turning it on? Are they charming people? Are they playing around? Are they the wounded bird? Are they kind of playing out some sort of cinematic narrative? I think sexuals do that. Or are they like dramatizing social issues, social image crack, gossip? They're more like, did you hear about so and so? I'm being reductive, of course. Or like maybe like, I think self-preses and socials can fixate on the news a lot, but I guess it would depend on how they frame it. Do they only bitch about certain instinctual things when it's blocking them from the thing that they actually want? Because I think that matters. Is it like the thing that they're just fixating on because they're fixated on it, or are they fixating on it temporarily because they're like, this is stopping me from this other instincts thing? Like they're not saying this other instincts thing, but it's like how they'll be framing it. It's like, I don't have enough money to go to the Caribbean with my friends, okay? Like all my friends are going and I can't go because blah, 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 and like they're upset about it and like they're trying to get you to solve it for them because like it's not their dominant instinct and maybe they can convince you, especially if they're self-pres middle or they're self-pres last gold digger type and they have like a boyfriend who will pay for it, but it's because they want to go with their friends on a trip. It's not because they actually care about like money or whatever. And as soon as that thing is resolved, will they stop talking about it? Will they stop fixating on it? I hope this makes sense. It's helping me just talking about it out loud, to be honest. In the words of Denise Richards in Wild Things, I am my own muse. Okay, so the self-preservation instinct, so that's like found, I mean, again, these are reductive, and I know people hate like when you do like these kind of like bullet point descriptions of stuff, but it's like, get over yourself. Get over yourself, you narcissist. Like nobody can include every single facet of every single fantasy that you have about yourself. So you just have to accept that these descriptions are reductive, but they're also simplistic and simplified for a reason so that they're understandable. So that they get the point across, okay? Do not be writing in my fucking comment section, well, I'm so pressed on and like you didn't, I don't care. Anyway, self-pres instinct is foundational like supplies. So like it's like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It's like the bottom of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like shelter, food, water. maybe it's wife. Me have wife, take care of me. Ooga booga, fuck under the cover. Like home, security, food, money, objects, environmental comfort, stability, steadiness, equilibrium. Actually, this is something I should do a video on, now that I'm saying it out loud. Don't copy me and do it before I do it. I fucking hate people on the internet. But I think there is like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs of each instinct. Maybe I'll do that after I do this series. Because I think for self-pres doms, it's like you have the foundational shit, like shelter, da-da-da. And then it moves up the ladder. So it's like, then it would be like grinding or like career maybe, or like moving up the self-pres skill building ladder, like where you can start focusing on less like caveman stuff and like more businessman stuff. There probably is a gradation upward in each instinct. And that's probably actually why a lot of people don't resonate with some of the descriptions where it's like pig farmer. Because that's like a Maslow's level, right? Like, because then there's like the cottagecore girlies who are like a book and a cup of tea and like plants and like me and my cozy blanket. So I think that there is like a gradation upwards of where kind of almost self-predominantly goes from. I guess I'll just do a spontaneous like preview of this Maslow's hierarchy of needs for each instinct, but um where it's like your immediate needs are met and then it becomes like the cottage core dream or like the mansion, Bentley, the BMW, the I guess that would be more for like if you're like an assertive type or something. Or like, luxury stuff, like fancy food, travel. Like so I think that that's maybe how it goes. I don't know. They're trying to self-pres dominance are trying to secure a bag of foundational cookies, stakes, time, energy, money, investments, multiple meanings, hovel, home, property, supplies, resource independence, ideal temperature, weather conditions, physical gratification, sniffing butts, and sexual release to get off and move on with the day. So it's like not sexual instincts, it's like they're just jerking off to like release stress or um not to say that sexual instincts don't do that, but it's more like about like like more like rolling on top of the wife and humping her. And then being like, all right, time to go to work now. Like this kind of thing. That's how I think of it anyway. The last guy I dated was self-prosocial. It made me feel really bad about myself. Building muscles or creating the comfortable hovel with which they can muscle waste. So you might not be like a bodybuilder protein shake drinker. Um, Shrinking your testes for bigger biceps. It might just be that you're like focusing on the part of SP that's comfortable, which just involves you putting your feet up and watching Netflix. And those types are more like wanting the comfortable, satisfying environment in life. So obviously this connects to type, so that'd be more like nine stuff. And like boundary maxing. Even nines, I think, like self-pres nines have pretty good boundaries, I think. Like they have better ones than I do. Um, and the self-pres bag is mostly static, building on top of itself, tangible, quantifiable, measurable. Measurable and tangible. I think those are like keywords. There's like something there. There's something for your efforts. Um, and in my opinion, self-preses also like just energetically seem more solid in terms of like frequency, and they almost seem like they have more tangible form. There's more like neat solidity, groundedness, like there's something more just like stable about their energy. And I imagine that's why probably a lot of self-pres lasts are attracted to people uh relationship wise that have self-pres in their type, because it's like, oh, this thing that I don't have, this like anchor, um this like hefty meat sack that can like tether me to reality, even though I'm gonna grow to hate it. I like it too. Um, and yeah, I just feel like visually self-pres doms look more weighed down by gravity. This is probably why they get the most plastic surgery. I really think your type defines how you age. Like there's stuff you can. I feel like self-pres doms age worse, even though it makes not sense. Um, because yeah, they're more in the 3D reality, gravitational pull. And I think each instinct is kind of like psychic in a way. So I think that like self-presnoms are kind of more psychic about like cost benefit prediction, sort of practical matters. Like this is gonna go wrong. This is gonna go wrong. Or like like this thing is this is about to blow. Like actually might have stolen that from David Gray without meaning to, because I think he talks about like SP being on the bottom and then social and sexual at the top. I could be wrong. I don't remember anything. Social instinct, hierarchies, networks, public persona, social equity, pop culture, lovers, haters, not lovers in terms of lovers, but like, my haters, my lovers, my fans, my audience, social movements, critiques, and sure, like belonging. I think I was told when I posted something about this the one day that it was very three-ish. I just think social instinct is like it is like attuned to the social field, which is like imagey. It is aware of like what things mean, what things like I think that social doms, it's like SP is like aesthetics in the realm of objects and like, luxury fabrics and kind of synergizing elements, like a tapestry, like um tangible things. And I think social is doing that with social. So it's like they're creating an aesthetic of social. What does this person mean about me? What does this connection mean about me? What does this person say? Like it's kind of like you like the what is that saying? It's like you're the sum total of the 10 people you hang around with or something. It's like that kind of mentality, I think, where it's like what does this connection say about me? How does this make me look? How does me saying that I know this person make me look? Like it is kind of that shit. Like it's not as bad for certain types. Like nines are not as bad with that kind of stuff, for example, and sixes will sixes sort of like meekly name drop, But and obviously like other types like threes or sevens or eights or whatever might just like gratuitously name drop. But it is that's what the instinct is. So I don't know. Deal with it. Um, Socials are trying to secure the bag of clout, networks, groups, ideology, popularity, public persona with an impressive, significant, or at least vaguely aspirationally acceptable image, unless they're like a four or something. But then there's still going to be like an element of it where they're like elevating themselves or separating themselves from social. So they're still engaged in social, even if they're like, I'm separate. I'm separate from them. I think very different. Like I'm very different. So it's like there's still the social awareness. Um, and like where they are, again, if even if they won't say it out loud, it's like there's an awareness of the role in the social fabric that they exist or desire to exist in. They're focused on relationships, who's doing what, who knows who's doing who on some level. I mean, that can also be in the sexual instinct realm, but I feel like it's social. Probably SP last notice that stuff more, maybe. What's happening, pop culture, some kind of social fear. Like it's kind of like the blogging. I feel like it's a kind of a blogger, gossip blogger, even YouTuber sort of energy. Like not saying all YouTubers are social because I know they're not, but it's like there's a sort of like see me just a little bit. I'm important a little bit. I have something to add. I have something to say. Uh, yeah, and like they're involved in some kind of social sphere, and the specificity and breadth of that relates more to type and their interests. So like it's kind of more obvious for certain types than others, and like some social sixes can get like totally unhinged with like tribal stuff. Not all, obviously, but they like often can get very where it's like, oh, they're like in a group, they're in that club. Whereas like I think social nines are like to be in a few groups, and like social sevens I think can be in like a lot of groups, and it's more just like picking the fun groups or like the fun people to hang out with, and like having many friends for different interests that serve to like provide a partner in crime for like the various things they want to do. um, Socials can be shallow social climbers or inspirational leaders with some miserable haters peppered in for variety, like social critics, for example, that distinguish and separate themselves from the herd. So, like, I think a lot of social self-preses are probably like, or a lot of film critics, a lot of like literary critics, a lot of just critics in general, are probably social self-pres because it just feels like that's the instinct that would do it, like that would get off on that. Maybe some social sexuals, but probably mostly social self-preses. Um, and the like social bag is like semi-permanent, so it's not as like stable. Did I talk about that? Yeah. So yeah, so the self-pres bag is sort of more static and like building on top of itself and tangible. And I think like the social like bag, if you will, is semi-permanent. It's like less stable because it involves people and you can't really control people as much as you can control the self-pres realm. So it's less stable. It's more dramatic, especially with sexual second. And it's more probably stable and consistent with self-pres second. So depending on the person and the people that they surround themselves with. Uh, I think like social sexuals are probably more like disposable friendships, like shuffled through at leisure. And I think social self-pres is more like the loyal girl gang combo. Again, I'm just sort of saying stuff and being reductive, but yeah. And the frequency of social is kind of like more snooty and like above you and like I'm in the know and like I have this friend and like I got an invite to this thing and like even if they're not like I find like social self-preses are kind of snobby even when they're not snobby like there's still an element of like it's above self-pres realm. It's like they're hovering above. They've got wings and they're just like and they have like more like psychic energy focused on the social realm, like maybe spotting social agendas and sort of like and also having the psychic ability of like knowing who to connect with who would be a good match. Oh, this person would probably be a good to meet this person. Like so that like like you know what I mean? It has like different manifestations. Um Sometimes I paint stuff like a little bit overly negatively with what people are up to, but there's always like the positive inverse of that same thing that I'm saying. So and the sexual instinct is, in my opinion, okay, don't come at me in the comments. I just don't care. Chasing, generating chemistry, and that's like at the risk of social, it's at the risk of self-preservation or stability, it's at the risk of belonging. It's like certain attachment types are like maybe less likely to set their lives on fire to chase the chemistry, to chase the fire, but I think by and large they're doing it way more than like social doms or self-pres doms, unless in like an extreme case. It's like chemical romance, churning intrigue, lighting fires, snuffing fires, lighting fires, snuffing fires again and again and again. Hungry atomic sparks, sexual, creative, rapturous collision, lust, disgust. And these words are so reductive that people can like project anything onto them. But it's like, this is like an active pattern that's playing out for a sexual dom. Like they're actively in this every day. This is not something where it's like, and then I got a crush on a guy at work and it was so naughty. I would think about him while I was eating my sandwich or something. It's like this is like the energy that they're constantly running on. And so it's like when there's like an invitation to like, you know, get a hit of that, it's like that's the dominant instinct. It's like you move towards the dominant instinct. It's just like less common to be able to do that than it is for like self-preses or socials. Like I really think it's like that order. It's like self-preses easier to fulfill than it is to fulfill sexual because sexual is not about like sex. It's like energy. It's like this secret language that exists in this like frequential realm. It's like this 5D or maybe it's 4D, I don't know, but it's like above the 3D. It's like a secret language. It's like a secret, like subtle. It's like the mushroom, how the mushroom, the mycelium network or whatever it's called, that like is, you know, connecting to all the other mushrooms under the root system. It's like that, but in the sky. It's like through the sphere. It's like that, but made of like air and fire. I don't, but this is not. This is why I couldn't understand the sexual instinct at first when people were like, "It's the God realm," or maybe that wasn't the one that it was. I can't remember. Sorry. So it's like, what does that mean? So, anyways, I'm going to try to talk about it more and hopefully make it more clear. But the thing is, it is an energy thing. It is an energy thing, but it's what do you do when you get a hit of that energy? What do you do? And do you notice that energy? That's the other thing. Because, like, I think a lot of, like, SPSOs, and even us, I think SOSPs are more attuned because they're social dom, but I think, like, a lot of SPSOs just, like, honestly don't notice a lot of this stuff. Not to be rude, but like I just don't think they notice the like they don't notice it. like maybe a 6 would notice it, but it's like they're not going to really notice those little, they're not going to notice it. And I think like sexual doms or people that are sexual second notice it because it's like more interesting than self-present social. Um, Sexual is trying to secure a bag or bags of limerent juice, chemical romance, constantly churning intrigue. Oh, I already said this. And it's like sparking atoms energy, where it's almost like you're existing as, this is so nine-ish, but it's like existing as like a vibrating atom, a person made of vibrating atoms instead of like a person. And it's like craving another person's like undivided gaze, energetic whirlwind, high risk, like, which is like many meanings. It's like devouring, being devoured, attraction, collision, turning someone else on, turning somebody else inside out. You can, and the thing is, like, you can turn somebody on with your energy. Like, you can just be standing across like a counter from a person and send them like a little sex bomb, a little. And I think like people with higher sexual are like, oh, like they feel it more, or they like know. Um, I think people with lower sexual might. What was that? um, but I think like sexual doms move towards that because it's like, it's like the panting hot sweat face emoji. And it's not like moving towards it and then being like, oh my, oh my. It's like moving towards it and being like, oh my, more, give me more, give me more. And depending on their type, they might still retreat, but it's going to be this constant magnetic pull where it's like you kind of can't pull yourself away from it when you get it, because it's like the social instinct or the self-present instinct where it's like you can't turn off that. I mean, you can if you get like super self-aware and you catch yourself and you're like, this is gonna be you repeating a pattern, and you can like coach yourself, but it's like you're not gonna want to turn away from it. Let's just say you're gonna be compelled. You're gonna be compelled. Sexual doms operate on a different dimension where the language is undoing sublimations button by button and weaving energetic subtext like golden threads that leave scars on the skin. It's an art form of pulling and pushing, intoxication and purification, suffocating submersion and jet skiing away. Oh, I like this. I haven't read this for a while. This process results in human casualties and less discussed organs to harvest, grind into powder, and bathe in to amplify the sexual type's danger and appeal. The bag is temporary, mutating, evolving. And so this is, I think, a key too. It's like the instincts. It's like self-presence is like more static and building. Social is semi-permanent. It's like trying to build something socially or with people. But again, like because there's people, there's an uncontrolled element. So there's like pieces that fall away, right? Or that have to be changed. But the sexual bag is by nature temporary, fleeting, mutating, tangibly unmeasurable outside of a wake of damaged hearts, sweat-soaked sheets, and a trail of chaos. It is the dance of predator and prey on both ends. Stability may be sought via a singular, fated, electrifying, transcendent connection, but it's an illusion due to the nature of the instinct. Supply must be constantly renewing, recharging, reigniting, dying, and rebirthing in order for it to maintain a bag status. So yeah, it's like stability is not stability in the sexual instinct, because once you get like stability where it's like there is no change, it's just like this baseline, then your sexual instinct's not being fed, because the sexual instinct thrives on constant change and novelty. And I think that this is the overlap it has with 7 in some ways, but it's like it needs to be constantly updating, constantly dancing, constantly moving this way, that way. And like, and also maybe even like looking over here, looking over there, and looking over there and like looking over, like, it's like, it's a dance that's constantly happening. It's like, what is that story about? Like or it's like a real thing that happened where people danced themselves to death like a long time ago, where they just kept dancing to win some prize or something, but they just kept going until like all these people just fucking died. It's like that. It's like it doesn't matter if it's going to kill you. It's like because that is better than anything else. It's the drug. It's like actually maybe that's a better way to put it for the instincts. It's like it's the drug of choice. The instincts are your drug of choice. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget it. I have a bunch of little things I'm trying to use as anchor points, but when the bag fails, flatlines, runs empty, or it becomes poisoned and tainted, which it might be because of like a outside, like a third party, or the spark drops. Like, and I think like when you're sexual dom or high sexual, you can like tell when your partner's eyes are wandering, even if they like literally don't wander. It's like you could feel it. You could fucking feel it. And then depending on your type, that might upset you so much that the connection is just dead. And then it's like, well, now what? Or sometimes it's fuel for the sexual instinct to like get more competitive and like it gives them the fire. So it just depends on the type, but it's like how that looks is going to be different for each type, the way it manifests. And the thing is, the sexual instinct kind of can't ever be fully satisfied because it needs to be constantly like updated. So, like it will inevitably crash. It will inevitably fall apart. And then sometimes, you know, if you're in like a monogamous relationship and you're like really self-aware, then you would have to find other ways to get those hits that's like not cheating or other romantic intrigues, but maybe through other ways. You know what I mean? I don't know what those ways are, but maybe creatively or really intimate friendships or I don't know. So then, yeah, when that happens, like more bags must be tested, especially if you're like average to low health, like whatever your type is with sexual, it's like got to get that hit right. So you might be like toying with other bags, sucking on other bags. You might not buy the bag. You might not drink from the bag, but you might just give it a squeeze, you know? And then maybe you return to the original bag when like longing has returned or the spark has returned or whatever. Maybe it's replenished itself. It's replenished its juice. Um, yeah, and I think the sexual instinct is also like the siren instinct. So it's like erotically charged, more alive seeming, dancing with energy, dancing with danger, throwing little sparks and sex bombs at people. So, like psychic in the sexual energy realm. So like I already said, it's like you can just like kind of feel, you can feel it. Um, like like I remember I was dating this guy once. He was such a piece of shit. And I knew when he, it was like I wasn't out with him or anything. I knew when he took a girl home with him to his apartment. He texted me something really innocuous like, heading home, can't wait to see you tomorrow. Like something just really sweet. And I was like, he's fucking somebody tonight. He fucking took somebody back to his apartment. I felt it like a lightning rod. I actually felt it even before I got the text. I was like, I felt this like energy in the air and I was like, so I think the sexual instinct can drive you insane, by the way, whether it's second or dominant. Like I maybe like I think like sexual last actually have it luckier because I think it can drive you completely insane. Also, like on the negative side, like I already said, it's like I really feel like gross people with sexual in their type, or just people who are giving you unwanted attention that have sexual in their instinct, it can feel like being molested, like energetically. So, especially if they have like fucking two in their type or something, I don't know. Or they're just one of the more like entitled, narcissistic sort of combinations. It's like it's gross when you can like feel somebody kind of sliming you. So it's not as sexy as people think it is, I think, to have sexual instinct in your type. I think it's actually like just crazy making and a lot. And so how I wanted to sort of, I guess, end talking about the dominant instinct was because I was thinking a lot about time and energy. And what I'm calling it in this is time and aura, TNA, and the instincts, because time and energy are something that I'm very aware of in my own personal life. And this is why I eventually, like a while ago, I was like, I guess maybe I have SP. I don't know. I'm like really aware of like how my time and energy are being spent on stuff that I don't want to spend them on, to the point where I will become like near hysterical of too much of my time and energy, which is what I'm doing right now. Thankfully, I know self-regulation techniques though, where you don't have enough time for the things that actually light you up, and it's like so I used to think, well, I guess that's the self-pres realm because it's like associated with self-pres, like time and energy scarcity. But I think it's how it's framed, and I think it applies to every instinct. So I just want to add this to this video. I kind of want to do some more videos like this where I'm just sort of like looking at it from different angles. So yeah, TNA is often lumped in with self-preservation because there's an awareness of resource allocation, depletion, scarcity, finite resources, refueling, diminishing returns, and a desire for some kind of supply. But what is the time and aura being harvested or acquired for, and what is it being spent on that is sending someone into a frenzied shell game, escalating into hysteria? What do you want that time and aura for? What do you want that time and energy for? And what are you furious about it having to go to? Because I think that that can also give you more information about what your instincts are doing. So how TNA might look for self-preservation dominance. Stability, hustling, grinding, cleaning, managing, sorting, organizing. I know, whatever. Time for like building, stockpiling, acquiring. Stockpiles range from ammunition to like felt mice on a Christmas tree, craft supplies, you know. Doesn't all have to be like prepper or, you know, the masculine extrapolation, if you will. Alone time, so like watching Netflix amidst a harem of fleece, crafting, tinkering, cooking, eating, skill building for, and like skill building for the sake of growing something useful, practical, or stabilizing. So, because I also, this was another point of confusion for me around the instincts, because I'm pretty like into like maximizing my skills, but I don't use them for anything practical. It's more like a fantasy self that I'm cultivating, and like, you know, I'm becoming this sort of like untouchable creative who has this expertise that no one else has. And it's like more about like my identity or like my self-image than it is about like the sort of self-pres realm of like practicality and like this is a skill that will really get me somewhere. And like, you know, sometimes like you might be like, well, I could use it for this, but like, do you actually, do you? Do you? Self-pres is better able to manage their time and energy. Even if they're not that good, they're still probably better than the other types, because they tend towards a more practical, routine-oriented or optimal approach. They're less prone to giving themselves over to chaos at the drop of a hat, like a sexual dom would, or even a social type, especially like a social sexual, because I mean, I think that like a lot of different types map to ADHD, 7, 9, 9 with 7. I don't know. Everybody has ADHD now, apparently. It's because we eat garbage. But I also notice like a lot of social sexuals see me like extra ADHD. Resource acquisition warfare games to varying degrees. So like a self-pres 9-wing 8 might just wish to invest energy in Dorito bag acquisition at the corner store. And that takes precedence over visiting their buddy or making eye contact with a doe-eyed barista. But it also shows up, you know, and through the lens of like conquering, dominating, amassing assets, deeds to siphon rent money out of useless SP last class people. The coin collection that appreciates in value, the pinned butterflies that don't talk back or mess up your little fortress. I think self-pres doms will be the first in line for real dolls, sex bots that they can keep neatly under their bed with their work loafers and secret stash of cash. I think Dan Harmon's self-pres social. I should type him actually. I keep eating too. Some kind of like self-pres social 964, 694 or something maybe. but he used to have a real doll under his bed instead of a girlfriend. And that just seems like such a like self-pres dom thing to do. It's like, I'll just have the body. I'll just have the body to hump because I just need a hole for my dick to go in. Me, we as a structure, so like me and we as a structure, investing time and energy into the structure, creation and maintenance. So it's like building, it's like me building my thing. I'm investing in my thing that I'm building, this thing that I'm is gonna secure me. But also we, when we work together, we do this together. But I think self-pres doms um are committed to seeing it through, you know, figuring it out. They create, so I'm talking about like creative, like artistry. I think they create, this is reductive maybe, but maybe they're creating with like sustainable intention. Can be self-soothing too if they're like nine or nine fix maybe, but there's creative acts can be more like grounded, functional, goal-oriented, like maybe more productive output too, tangible outcome orientated acts of creative expression or experiences just because maybe seen as like a waste of time and energy and resources. Experiments are less rewarding if they don't result in tangible outcome. And it can also just be like you come to me in my like SP cave while I'm like working on my stuff. Their TNA depletion can come from over socializing, too many interactions, especially ones that are too heavily focused on social or sexual realms. Although those can provide a burst of new energy or fresh air, it's likely not like the preferred baseline. Too much gossip, henhousing, drama, that's draining. Too much romance and limerent surrender to whims and whimsy, that's draining. Like I've noticed how presidents sometimes get like very eye rolly about like you know, stories of like romantic drama and friend drama. So, too much firecrackering, fantasizing, disruption, destroying, overturning what's been created. They don't like that. They don't like that. They can get stuck in sunk cost fallacy because of fear of like time, energy, financial investment, destruction. So it's like they might like stay committed to a path they're not interested in just because they already put all this time, money, and energy into it. So it feels like it's kind of a scarcity mindset to like abandon it. Whereas I think like self-pres last are more likely to just be like, fuck it, it's not working, pivot and like toss it, even if they've spent like a ton of money and time on it. How TNA, time and aura, might look for social dominance. Time and energy is better spent on impact or community driven pursuits where the goal is people meeting people, connecting with people, finding like minded people, people with similar interests, investing in relationships, connections, influencers, being influential, socializing with unconscious or conscious goal of ingratiating the self into a web of social wonders, open doors, and secret ladder rungs. So, meaning like, moving up the like career ladder or social ladder, meeting the who's who. Again, I know people don't like this kind of description, but this does apply to social types. And like I think just certain personality types have like ego around not admitting that they secretly have these agendas. Social psychological warfare games to varying degrees depending on core type. So leveraging quietly or less quietly gossip, connections, intel, and that's an interesting use of their time. They like doing that. They like thinking about it. They like talking about it. They like hearing other people talk about it. Instead of having to hear about the dried flowers on the table and how you made your cupboard, you sanded your cupboard to look, I don't know, whitewashed or whatever. They put their time and energy into social movement over physical movement. So, for example, just as like a distinguishing factor, like going to the gym. Okay, they're doing like a SP thing, but it's like to fit in with the peach-butted girls at the office who attend weekly cardio, disco, sweat bukkake meetups as a social activity. They do it to gossip, they do it to bond, and then a social type might not want to be left out, well, depending on what their core type is, but they might not want to be left out, so they'll go along with it even though they don't really want to exercise. So like exercising is not like the motivation. It's being part of the web. Identity politicking, significance in some kind of like minded, snooty atrium above the peasants, even if they won't say that part out loud. Again, I feel like social doms won't cop to some of the shit that they secretly do, or not so secretly. Or it can be the like-minded peasants tossing rocks at the snooty atrium. So it's like us against them kind of social stuff, I think. Whether it's like you're up here or you're down here, fixated on taking down the up here because you secretly want to be up there. Social DOMs are the peanut gallery. They're the Sunday brunch squad, the reality TV show discussion forum. Socials utilize socially valuable assets to position themselves within the web. So like they could use SP in the sense of like being an expert or talented in something useful to generate clout, admiration, friendships, acquire invites to soirees and social functions, over making like loads of cash and exploiting minions like an SP Dom might. Or they want it for access to more interesting or impressive people for romantic intrigue, uh, or like a sexual dom might use social, but it'll be more for like harvesting harvesting people for like infatuations or romance or partner swiping or planting attraction time bombs, where that's like more like a goal than a belonging and socializing could be. How socials do like me we is as a brand, I think. So investing time and energy into this brand creation and maintenance. So it's like the brand of me, who I am in the web, the brand of us as like a group, as like a girl gang, as like my posse. I think self-press socials kind of do it too when they have like sports teams or something. But I think social DOMs are kind of, I don't know, social DOM is kind of like the book club um, vibe to me, social self-press maybe. And also, like, that's what they don't want threatened, right? So, like, that's what they're gonna try to, like, focus positive time and attention on and, like, not have that disrupted by, like, crazy sexual doms or something. Um, how they create or how I conceive of social doms creating is, like, with meaning, purpose, impact in mind. They're more audience aware, even if they're not like creating for an audience specifically. They might be creating for themselves, but like they're still aware of like the potential impact it could have, or like pushback, or like even if they won't say it out loud. Again, I feel like a lot of people won't cop to some of this stuff, but it's like still there in the background. How will this make me look? Even if it's only to myself or like one person that I care about. What does this mean about me? Perhaps like more conscious awareness on message or theme as it relates to human belonging, connection, pseudo political archetypal elements, etc. TNA depletion can come from too much talk or focus on practical matters, physical details, just like the SP stuff, like, let's talk about dinner. What are we having for dinner? Like, why are you talking about dinner at 7 in the morning? Like, fucking who cares? Where should we go for dinner? Where are we gonna go? What about this place has, well, this place tilapia is to die for. Like, I feel like that's like self-pres people do that stuff. And social self-preses might be more interested in that than social sexuals, but because social self-preses can be like, oh yes, it's like those can frame it maybe through social, like, oh, if I'm seen at the place with all the vivid tilapia or whatever, then like maybe such and such goes there too because it's you know what I mean? Maybe you don't. Um, they lose TNA from too much disruption from the sexual realm. So when the excitement begins to make them look sloppy by association, messes up friendships, networks, they become stink bombed by association by somebody else's like bad brand or image. Um, Things that can get in the way of their rung climbing, hobnobbing, pearl clutching. Social types can still become tired of socializing, of course, much like all types can become sick of like or like just wrung dry when they go too hard into their instinct. Especially if they're like a 9, a 5, or a 4, being withdrawn types. But they will still be hardwired for the soiree, the meetup, the entangled social obligations. Um, who's going where? So I met up with so and so, especially if connected to what they value, prioritize, or see as worthwhile TNA investment. So like how self-presses are building brick by brick, socials are building person by person, group by group, network by network. loss of social juice and possibility. So where they can lose TNA is loss of social juice, possibility where the options are just like not appealing or subpar connections, or it's just like, who's this person? Oh no, I don't want to hang out with these people. Oh, I forgot to talk about the social Maslow's hierarchy. Well, I guess that would be you get your tribe, you get your initial tribe, and then you social climb up until you have a better tribe. And then you basically work your way up to celebrity. Celebrity, your friends are all celebrities. So, what would the Maslow's hierarchy be for sexual dominance? The person who you have chemistry with, the person who you get that, you know, that spark, that connection with. But it might be like a caveman level. And then maybe you work your way up to like the kind of top higher tier sexual connection where it's like psychological warfare. And maybe there's like, well, I mean, this might be like because of my type framing, but although I've talked about this with my buddy who I talk about the instincts with, who he thinks there's like a creative element to the sexual instinct, but that's confusing, right, to creative people. But I think that there is a creative element to the sexual instinct where it's like it's muse. Like I associate like needing a muse with four, but I also associate it, and maybe three and four, but I also associate it with the sexual instinct because I think that there's like it's like this it's like you're amplifying the romantic fire by pulling in creative elements, like um making it into some kind of art form, or like where the longing, the drama, the upset, the like it becomes part of your lore. I think that that's like way more intensified for sexual doms. um Even if they're not consciously doing it, it's like you'll notice just if you know sexual doms, like they have like a crazy, usually a crazy history of some kind where you're like, how did you get married three times in like 2 years? Like this kind of stuff where it's like they're creating stories, they're creating cinematic material, whether or not they're aware of it. But I think if they are a creative person, then it kind of like feeds, it gives them extra like I'm a conductor and I'm a fire master, I'm a fire weaver, and like I think that there's like this element that amplify it's like an amplifying feeling alive. Um, and I think like self-pres doms feel alive when they get that like perfect drywall installation, or like the right amount of saffron, it just um, and social doms I would assume feel that way when they're like, oh my God, like so and so loved my movie, such and such. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so how TNA might look for sexual doms. Time and energy better spent on sparking intrigue, romantically obsessing. And I don't mean like a nine, like an SPSO 9 who's like, my boyfriend from my favorite anime. Like romantically obsessing, like might show up at their workplace or doing crazy stuff. Like I think sexual doms are insane. So from what I sexual seconds be really fucking insane. It's definitely not a stable like it's not the stable instinct. It's the unstable instinct, like they're unstable. Yeah, sexual doms want to spend their time hooking and booking, hooking it and booking it, sucking it in, spitting it out, sucking it in again and spitting it out. Maybe they like holding it in their mouth for a long time. Depends, right? Depends if they get what they're looking for. Moment to moment crafting the ultimate siren song, which leads men to exaltation, well, and women to exaltation and destruction. I'm just so obsessed. Channeling constant attention into nectar suckling, gaze munching, spontaneous aura eating, invisible magnetic push-pull games, setting relational fires to feel alive, provoking. So there are other types that provoke, 7, 8, 4, 3, and 4. I think, I don't know, maybe other types depending on what they're provoking, but I think like sexual provocation is more like you're trying to cause like a like it's like you're trying to cause a reaction in a person where it's like they're gonna be thinking about you later. And it might even not even be, it's like sexual, but it can be like not sexual too, where it's like you're just getting under somebody's skin and like um the unconscious or conscious goal is to pull people in for limerent lore creation, hits of passion at the expense of stability, physical safety and well-being, friendships, social image, blowback concerns, career. Um, yeah. Family, what the family thinks, if you're an attachment type or whatever. It's like you're gonna like you won't be able to let go. I think when sexual types, especially if they hook in with like another high sexual type, I think it's like hard sever sever it because it's like I don't know. I think it can become like a feedback loop of toxic romantic intrigue until I assume it like explodes or culminates or drives somebody to suicide. Um, Sexual, emotional, and psychological warfare games to varying degrees depending on core type, designed to penetrate with a hook lure so deeply the person never recovers, leaving behind your initials inside their rib cage right next to their heart or pubic bone. Seeking that glowing, juicy seed inside of someone or planting it and causing it to expand, explode, rupture so it fills you both with something otherworldly. Longevity, consequences. It's not the concern, intensity is. These activities are all a great investment of time. Infected, being infected. It's probably more social last frame, but on some level, I think like maybe SP last infection is probably more. I think like social last sexual infection, I'm not talking about like STDs, although maybe, I don't know, is more like in your body. It's like I'm inside of you. Like in Splice near the end. It's one of my favorite movies. Actually, I should do that for a video. Inside you. Or SP last, I think, is more like inside you. Like I'm psychologically, emotionally, like you'll never feel razzle dazzled like this again. um Longevity or consequences are not the concern. Intensity is. Might be repeating myself. And these activities are all a great investment of time. So if you're like a person who thinks that you're sexual dom and you're not filling a lot of your time doing this kind of stuff, you're not probably a sexual dom. They're toxic and they're crazy. So I think like this needs to be addressed. I really think this needs to be addressed. And they're chaotic and unpredictable. There's like not you can't it's like again it aligns with seven but which is annoying but it is like a hedonistic sort of like following the impulse, following the charge kind of thing, but like self-pres seven isn't doing the same thing per se. They're more like rock climbers, bungee jumpers, you know what I mean? I guess you could say that's a bit sexual too in itself, but it's like um they're more like seeking like SP thrills, which is not quite the same as a sexual thrill. I mean, they could be like a mad ass, like sex addict humper where they're just humping, 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 but it's not for the same reason that like a sexual dom who's getting like an emotional, energetic charge of like getting inside somebody and having someone be inside them. And like there's this like fucked up kind of dramatic soap opera attached to it where like self-pres stuff like with that is more just about like humping and pumping, or at least that's my take on it. It's the butt sniffing. I guess they're still butt sniffing with that sex, but it's like energetic butt sniffing more. Maybe not for social last. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit unhinged here. Anyway, sexual doms find it a great expenditure of time and energy to participate in social activities when they can acquire new infatuations, victims, targets, objects, muses. So it's more like there's an agenda of maybe there's a crush there, or they're interested in somebody's husband, or who this person might be connected to this person I want to like dance with, So they might participate in self-pres to make themselves more desirable, unforgettable, mesmeric. It's self-pres is like primarily being used to curate the perfect like the perfect desirable sort of persona, or the thing to the person they're trying to reel in, or like if there's not like a specific target, although I think that like often that is what motivates people with self-pres last, for example. Just like the notion of becoming that like whirlwind, undeniable whirlwind. Um, and it can just like all this self-pres investment of time and energy can literally just be for that moment of collision with the object of fixation, but it's like probably going to be hard for like self-pres last, for example, to like maintain, but maybe that's like a path to growth thing, right? Sexual types hit the gas, baby. This is the death drive instinct. So TNA is existing moment to moment, possibility to possibility, juice box to juice box. And when they're not in that, then they're like fantasizing about it. It's like, what am I going to make happen? Like, what happened in the past? Like, can I bring it into the present? Like, there's like more of this, like, it's like, if there's no spark in the moment, they're going to reach back for the spark. They're going to reach forward for the spark. There has to be the spark. And this can extend to creative and intellectual obsessions where they pour themselves into it like a lover they're romanticizing. However, because I do think that at least what I'm starting to notice is like you can kind of tell when somebody is sexual with their writing sometimes, because it almost feels like more electric, or even their art feels like a little bit, I don't know, weirder or more like alive, or there's like an energy to it. However, that has to be in addition to everything else. Like they have to already be doing the other stuff, because I think that there's like, again, when I was talking about like the Reddit kind of version of what asexual is doing, it's like, well, I'm obsessed with my art. It's like, okay, like that doesn't mean anything. Or it might just be like you have ADHD. You know what I mean? It's like I jump from thing to thing to thing to thing. It's like you might just have ADHD. Are you a toxic fire starter who's like causing chaos romantically with every opportunity? Are you like actively trying to seduce people? Are you, I don't know, playing with fire all the time? Like if you're not, then you're probably not a sexual dom. Like even sexual nines, I think, are still kind of up the stuff. Or they're like causing chaos in order to feed the primary person, the main person, or maybe the only person, where there's chaotic things happening in order to keep the spark alive. So sexual doms utilize the sexual instinct as a way to make mundane reality heightened, eroticized experience, leaving a wake of limerent corpses seizuring and sobbing in the gutter, on the dance floor, around the workplace, maybe even leaving themselves collapsed and foaming at the mouth, because that still feels better than the 401k, I don't even know what that means, grind set, or the weekly henhouse mimosa brunch, because they need to feel alive. And the only way that I think sexual doms feel alive is when they're in that like kind of frenzied, gimme, like kind of, what you got, baby? I want more of it. Like, oh, you're gonna take it away. I'm gonna chase it. You know what? Well, I'm gonna take it away too, and now you're gonna chase it. It's like, and these games are playing out all the time for sexual doms, I think, and you just don't maybe notice it, but they're always playing out. And sometimes when it's just the instinct is not being fed, you got to settle a little bit, and that feels gross. You're getting some subpar sparkles, you know? It's not good for the soul. Um, I assume it's people with high sexual that also get caught in like really toxic relationships more easily than other types. So the like me we factor of this instinct is the shimmering, wriggling lure. So even the partner or romantic casualties can become part of the lure creation and maintenance process, dangling them on the hook like feathers, neon worms, and shiny beads, with or without their knowledge, that serve to make the wriggling lure more compelling and attractive to trap or to themselves and to others. So there can be like an element of like, like posting photos with their partners to like highlight how desirable they are, or this person desired me to make themselves look more desirable to somebody else. Like there's like little, it's because it's almost like socially in some way, like what they're doing, but it's like for sexual. It's like, look at how passionate I am. Look at how desired I am. Look at me. I'm like, this is me in a relationship. Like I mean, it depends on the person's type, right? So not all types. We not like sexual nine's probably not going to be as inclined to do that as much, but whatever. Um, and regarding like artistic creation, creating through emotional or romantic fire wands. Totally did not reread this before I started this video. Channeling uncontrollable loin and heart transmissions directed with a muse in mind, or if no muse is available, some kind of phantom muse replacement. Churning up extremism and aliveness in other situations or scenarios. Like I don't like think that like sexual doms only make stuff about like romance or something, but I think that there's like an element of this sort of like disruptive, ripping open, change element, penetration. Like there's sort of like sexual themes, sexual instinct themes throughout, even if it's not like sexual in nature. In the like, I think that there's like a more chaotic, kind of electrifying feel. Not to say that it's good. The person's talented. I'm just saying that I think that that's kind of, it has more energy, I just think. Okay. TNA depletion can come from the deadness of routine, obligation, restraints, mundanity, security, socializing without fire, SPing for the sake of SPing, being in the dead zone, no fire, possibility of sparks, flatness, the cubicle void, having to pay bill. Like nobody likes this stuff, right? But I think for like sexual doms, it's like way worse. Or people who are SP last, it's like having to do the like go to work at 9 a.m., pay my bills, ha ha ha. And there's like nothing. It's like, and there's nothing, and there's no juice. It's like, I think it's like literally death. Like it feels like death. So be kind. Be kind to the sexual doms out there. You don't know how much they're suffering. When they have to have like chemistryless honeymoon period over, reality crash experiences, when the loss of the ideal sinks in, and then they're stuck with that thing, that corpse. Or they have to like end the corpse, or they have to find a new new way to get the juice, figure out if they want to keep the corpse, if they want to keep fucking the corpse, if they want to sit on the couch with the corpse still. What else? Depletion also comes from like, oh, like I can't, so like the other instincts, it's like I think you can burn yourself out on your own instincts. So I think overspending on SX, when you psychically feel your lover or object of desire's energy or attention waning, or like the fantasy's crumbling, like reality has set in and like it's impossible, or like an impossible in a way that's like not romanticizable, or I don't know. Like there's just been too much destruction, because I think people do have their off ramps um at a certain point where it's like, okay, I can't do that anymore. That like I gotta look at myself. And I mean, the sexual instinct can show up in other ways too, where it can just be like people being, if they're not getting their like needs met in the instinct in the way it's kind of designed, which is through like lovers basically. It's through romantic intrigue. I mean, that's my take on it. Like, you can disagree with me, but I think that's what it is supposed to be. And so if you're not getting that met because you like live in some rotten little town with like just SPSO9s, um, and you have like no romantic intrigue, then you might find like defective ways to like get your kicks, and like that might be like social drama or trying to like generate it creatively or just causing drama out of for no reason and like I don't know, just flirting with people just to feel fucking alive and like and then has consequences and then it's like, well, I didn't even like that person and I don't know. What else? I didn't finish writing that one. So, but you know what? That's enough. That's enough. I've done enough. This is a big video. This is a long video. You're welcome.